please. Yeah, and we'll just make sure that's working properly for you this end.
Share selected window, and with a bit of luck, we should now be looking at this.
We are looking at that. Oh, I've gone again.
Ah,
there you go.
Okay. So is that okay? You can see me?
I can see you, yes.
Good stuff. All right. Okay. Well, I've already described who I am, and I suppose I want to tell you what I'm talking about. So the title of my session is called Create, Innovate, Get Out of the Cave. I think at events like this, you've got a lot of people speaking about futures. And I've seen just Ian Aitchen's presentation just now, and he's talking very much about the present. What I'm hoping to do is to kind of use some of my exposure to the industry, exposure to customers, really to paint a picture of where things will go in the future, but to look at the reality of the now and kind of what baby steps may need to be taken to get us to where we need to be. So my agenda, I'm not going to bore you with telling you what I'm going to do, but essentially we're just going to have a look at the past. And we're going to look at corporate IT strategy and what we can learn from that, kind of where we are now, best practice, and then some simple things that you can do to actually just be a little bit more creative, a little bit more innovative, and then we're going to look at possibly where things might go in the end game for corporate IT strategy. So, straight into it, children of the revolution. So, what's this all about? Well, essentially, in industry and business, things come along from time to time that basically radically changes how a business can operate and be productive. So you got there anything from railways to electricity to communications and of course computing itself. And essentially the rules work in terms of supply and demand. So the way the provider, the importance of things to the provider and to the consumer, they evolve as the technology itself evolves. So initially, you'll have a situation where demand massively outweighs supply. So the provider really is just focused. There's probably only one or maybe a couple of providers. They're focused on getting that out there, building the infrastructure. And the customer at that point in time, they're focused on getting it. They're not so concerned about cost. If cost happens, if the benefit happens to kind of perceive to be great, well then, you know, they'll go through hell and high water and pay through the nose to get it. So they're largely concerned with acquisition. But what happens is, as the infrastructure gets built, you get a few more players come into the market, and as we know with the first release of anything, sometimes it doesn't work so well. So you've got this effort by the provider to stabilize the infrastructure, to make it run a little bit better. And at that point in time, the customer's really concerned about service. You know, this stuff does break. Can I rely on you guys to fix it for me? And that's how vendors tend to compete at that point in time, or providers tend to compete.